So let us start metal toxicity. So there are several metals that produce toxicity and are important are arsenic, chromium, cadmium, lead, mercury, selenium. So these are the few metals which produce toxicity in animals. So let us start with the first one, arsenic toxicosis. So let us start the arsenic toxicosis. Regarding arsenic is concerned, arsenics are used about more than 2400 years back in Greece and Rome as a therapeutic agent as well as the poison. So the arsenic as a metal is very old one and used the purposes that I have mentioned. Regarding first therapeutic effect as a scientific evidence reported by the father of chemotherapy or father of modern chemotherapy, that is the Paul Ehrlich, he reported about the arsenic as a therapeutic agent and called it magic bullet, and the name of the compound was ersphinamin. So ersphinamin was the compound first used by Paul Ehrlich, and he was the founder of modern chemotherapy, or you can say the father of modern chemotherapy. Regarding the characteristic property that the arsenic have is a very important irritant as well as it accumulate within the body. So cumulative action is also produced by the arsenic. It get accumulated within the body. The element is concerned that arsenic is belongs to group fifth of the periodic table, and the other compound that belongs to or element belongs to the periodic table fifth are many, but amongst that the phosphorus are very important because phosphorus is quite structurally similar to arsenic, as well as the phosphorus is participating in ATP synthesis or physiological function of the body, and because of the structural similarity with the arsenic with the phosphorus, the toxicity may occur in animal or in living things, particularly eukaryotes. So that we have to go through the first the source. Regarding source of the arsenic is concerned, arsenic is found in soil, water as well as in air. So it is available everywhere, and the important source, that one of the important source of arsenic that produce toxicity is the groundwater. So the area where the groundwater get contaminated with arsenic, the chances of toxicity in that region, particularly both human being as well as animal, is more. So in India, it has been found that the few places of the country they have the high level of arsenic in groundwater, and this may be one of the region the arsenic toxicity may produce. So it is found in soil, water, air. Now the existence of this arsenic is concerned. Arsenic is coming in three form, I mean in three oxidation stage, that is the trivalent form, pentavalent form, as well as the elemental arsenic. So if you are going to compare this trivalent way as well as the pentavalent, trivalent and pentavalent arsenic is concerned, both are no doubt toxic, but if you are comparing trivalent arsenic with pentavalent arsenic, trivalent are more toxic, which is about 5 to 10 times more toxic than the pentavalent arsenic. Why? Because the absorbability, the solubility of the trivalent arsenic is more than the pentavalent, and therefore trivalent arsenic get absorbed more within the body, and the chances of the toxicity with the trivalent arsenic is more than the pentavalent. And as I earlier mentioned, the trivalent arsenic is possessing about 5 to 10 times more potency of toxicity than the pentavalent. So this is very, very important. Second thing is that in both inorganic as well as the organic form of the arsenic, pentavalent and trivalent are existing. So this is very, very important that the both the form are existing as inorganic and organic form. So this is important one. Now we have to go through the inorganic form and few of the example regarding the compound that we are going to go through that. That arsenic is in trivalent form. Arsenic trioxide is a trivalent and used as a herbicide, that is the weedicide you can say. Pentavalent inorganic form of the arsenic is sodium, potassium or calcium salt of arsenate, and which is used as a bait. Whereas the trivalent form, the arsenic trioxide is trivalent that I earlier mentioned, as well as the sodium arsenide, as well as the many other form that are coming as a inorganic form. If you are going to consider the organic form as a herbicide, the most important two herbicide as a organic form of arsenic are MSMA and DSMA. So what it stand? These two are the methane arsenate, but one is monosodium, another is the disodium. So MSMA stand for monosodium methane arsenate, and DSMA stand for disodium methane arsenate, and both are used as a herbicide. Other than that, one anthelimantic arsenic compound that is also organic in nature and used as a therapeutic agent is thiacetamide. Thiacetamide is a trivalent organic form and used as a anthelimantic for dog as a for the heartworm. So this is used to kill the heartworm. Next is also organic form is coming in pentavalent form, and the compound are arsenic acid, sodium arsenylate, 3 nitro 4 hydroxyphenol arsenic acid, and these all are used in animal as a feed additive, particularly for poultry and swine. So, as I earlier mentioned, the inorganic and organic form of arsenic is coming as both pentavalent and trivalent, and I earlier mentioned that trivalent is more toxic than the pentavalent. Why? Because the toxicity is because of the amount present in the body. So trivalent amount is more within the poisoned animal, because the solubility of this one trivalent is more, so more amount of get absorbed and chances of toxicity is more, as well as the rate of excretion is also slower than the pentavalent form. So that is why the trivalent is more toxic. Now we have to go through the oxidation state. As I earlier mentioned, this is existing in three oxidation state. That is the elemental form. That is also the having the three oxidation number. Trivalent itself is three oxidation number. That is coming is in the form of arsenide, whereas the arsenite means ASO3, arsenic with the 3 oxygen, whereas the pentavalent is arsenic with the 5 oxygen, and that is why pentavalent is with the 4 oxygen, but the oxidation number is 5. So ASO4 just similar to phosphate PO4, and its arsenate form is ASO4. This, if you are going to compare their toxicity, then you have to compare the compound toxicity. So the if you are comparing the on the basis of oxidation number as well as the compound, as a gas form of the arsenic is highly toxic, that is the arsine gas, that is coming in the gas form, and the form, and also called arsenic hydride. So arsenic hydride is the highest in toxicity, and thereafter the trivalent form, thereafter the pentavalent form, and thereafter the least toxic is the organic arsenical. So when you are going to say the range of toxicity, then you have to go through that: the arsine gas, then trivalent, then pentavalent, then organic arsenicals. This is about the toxicity. And phenamine that I earlier mentioned about the phenamine, that was the first compound that was used as a therapeutic agent by the founder of modern chemotherapy, that is the Paul Ehrlich, and this phenamine was used as a therapeutic agent for syphilis treatment. So this is phenamine. Next is the this is trivalent in nature. Now we have to go through the exposure. If you are going to compare the before going to compare these about the exposure, if you are going to compare the pentavalent and trivalent arsenic, the important one more point is that pentavalent is having very low capability to bind with the thiol group, that is the SH group. However, the trivalent form of the compound, arsenic compound, is having more capability, more power, more affection to combine with the thiol group, that is the SH group. And this is the reason the trivalent is more toxic than the pentavalent. Not only that, the absorbability is also there. So the pentavalent arsenicals is having low capability to bind with the thiol group, that is the SH group of the compound, then the trivalent form, and therefore trivalent compound is more toxic than the pentavalent. As I earlier mentioned, the arsine are amongst the topmost in toxic in nature, that is the arsine hydride, and this is mainly causing the respiratory edema, and as well as one more type of toxicity is concerned to, that is the hemolysis. So arsine or arsenic hydride is going to produce toxicity, that is the hemolytic effect, as well as the pulmonary edema produced by the arsine, because the arsine is a gas and that is mainly absorbed through the respiratory route. And now we have to go through the exposure. So old pesticide arsenic trioxide is not now in used, but earlier it was in used. And the second one, as I earlier mentioned, at many areas of the country, the high level of arsenic in soil, the water get contaminated, the plant get contaminated with the arsenic, and therefore it is one of the another source of the toxicity. Then is the thiacetarsomide, as anthelmintic for dog as a heartworm to kill the heartworm. Then organic arsenical used for the poultry and swine that we earlier mentioned as a feed additive, that is important. Now we have to go through the toxicity. So, as regarding this, we already discussed that the trivalent is about 5 to 10 times more toxic than the pentavalent arsenic form. Next important point is that almost all the species are affected with the toxicity with the arsenic. Amongst when you are going to compare the toxicity amongst the different species of the animal, then the cat is the higher in susceptible, then the horse, then the cattle and sheep, then swine and the bird. So cat is the higher susceptible species for arsenic poisoning as compared to other species, and their range are varied. That is given here: cat, then the horse, then the cattle and sheep, then the swine, and then the birds. Regarding the toxicity dose is concerned, lethal toxicity dose is concerned, for most of the species, single lethal dose of the inorganic trivalent arsenic is ranges from 1 to 25 mg per kg body weight. So this is all about the toxicity. So what these main important point regarding the toxicity are concerned? All species are susceptible. If you are comparing the susceptibility, the ranges of susceptibility, so cat is the higher susceptibility than the other. If you are going to compare the toxicity with the trivalent and the pentavalent, then the trivalent form is more toxic. If you are going to see the single lethal toxicity of inorganic trivalent arsenic, that is about 1 to 25 mg per kg body weight. So this is all about the toxicity. Now we have to go through the toxicokinetics. So what is toxicokinetic of any agent or any toxic agent? Toxicokinetic is the pharmacokinetic of a toxicant, is called toxicokinetics. So it means absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Regarding the absorption of this arsenic is concerned, arsenic is particularly the trivalent form are absorbed more because of its solubility. So the arsenic are readily absorbed if they are soluble, and trivalent form is more soluble, so that are absorbed from where? From the gastrointestinal tract. If arsine gas is concerned, then from the respiratory passage, or also from the skin. So it is readily absorbed. Which one? Arsenic from the gastrointestinal tract as well as the skin, whereas the arsine gas is from the respiratory passage. And most important point is that the arsenic is well distributed all over the body, but the high concentration of arsenic is found is major organ of the body, and that major organ of the body are liver, kidney, lungs, and heart. So what are the other point where the concentration is more? The hairs as well as the nails are with the higher concentration with the arsenic, because as I earlier mentioned, the particularly the trivalent form of the arsenic is having capability to bind with the SH group, the thiol group, and the hair and the nails are possessing higher concentration of the thiol group, SH group, and therefore the trivalent form particularly is going to bind with the SHH group, and its high concentration is found in these two particularly part of the body, that is the hair and nails. And other than that, where the phosphorus is found in higher concentration, the probability of arsenic to store there is more because of the structure similarity, as a arsenic or AsO4 similar to the PO4, and it therefore, as you know, the phosphorus is found in high in the bone and teeth, and therefore arsenic is also going to store there for longer time interval in bone and teeth. as well as in keratinized tissue, the arsenic is also going to deposit in more in amount. So this is about the absorption and distribution of the arsenic. So where the sulfhydryl group, that is the thiol group, this is the SS group, so it will found more there, and therefore you will find more in hair and nail, and because it is concerned to the phosphate, therefore more in bone and teeth. And now we have to go through the metabolism. So as you know, the main metabolic organ of the body is the liver. So likewise arsenic is methylated, few part of the arsenic get methylated in the liver partly, and methylated part of the arsenic, particularly the inorganic arsenic, are less toxic, or you can say get detoxified component. So methylated form of this inorganic arsenical in liver are less in toxic and rapidly get excreted through the urine mainly, and also bile, feces, milk, sweat, saliva. And a small portion of the arsenic also get in pentavalent form, that get reduced in kidney. But this reduced form of pentavalent arsenic in mainly in the kidney are more toxic in nature, and therefore reduced pentavalent arsenic in kidney are going to produce the nephrotoxicity. So this is about the metabolism of the arsenic is concerned. Now we have to go through the excretion. So as we earlier mentioned, the get excreted out through the urine, the bile, the feces, the milk, the saliva, the sweat, and the main excretory route is kidney. But when you are going to compare on the basis of their oxidation state, trivalent is mainly excreted out through the bile. It is coming through the intestine and coming in the bile and excreted out through the GI tract through the feces. And pentavalent is both organic and inorganic, excreted out by the kidney. This is mainly. And the excretion in domestic animal is rather faster than the human being. So this is about the toxicokinetic. Now we have to go through the toxicodynamics. So what is toxicodynamic? This is the pharmacodynamic of a toxicant, that means the mechanism of toxicity or mechanism of action of toxicity of toxicant is called toxicodynamics. So we are going to see how this arsenic is going to produce the toxicity, and this is very very interesting and important. So before going to go through the toxicity or mechanism of toxicity, we have to think about the affection of this arsenic with the compound. So as I earlier mentioned, particularly the thiol group, the trivalent form of arsenic is having very good affection with the thiol group. Which one? Trivalent form, and therefore this is going to produce the toxicity. Why? Because there are several thiol group are present in the enzymes, or you can say the proteins participating in the Krebs cycle as well as the glycolysis, and this because of the binding of arsenic with the thiol group, this is going to hinder, inhibit glycolysis and inhibition of Krebs cycle, and therefore because of the Krebs cycle in the mitochondria, that is the respiration occur, that is the cellular respiration occur, and it hinder the cellular respiration. So the final product of the cellular respiration is ATP, so therefore it produces the less is ATP production is in nutshell. So now we have to go through the one by one. So arsenic are going to produce the inhibition of cellular respiration occurring in the mitochondria organelles, as well as it also produce the capillary dilatation and degeneration. So if there is dilatation and degeneration occur, then this is going to produce the hypotension shock. Now we, if there is hindrance in the cellular respiration, therefore less ATP, energy deficit, and therefore this is going to produce the toxicity. So one by one we have to go through the this. The first one is the inhibition of cellular respiration. Then we already discussed the trivalent form of the arsenic is having capability to bind with the sulfhydryl compound, particularly the lipoic acid, that is also known as thiooctic acid, and alpha ketoxidase, as well as this sulfhydryl group are present in many respiratory enzymes of the Krebs cycle as well as the glycolysis cycle, like pyruvate dehydrogenate, succinic acid dehydrogenase. And because of this binding of trivalent arsenicals with the sulfhydryl group, particularly with the lipoic acid sulfhydryl group or thiooctic acid sulfhydryl group. The lipoic acid are a cofactor participating in the Krebs cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle or citric acid cycle, or you can say the energy cycle where the ATP is generating that get affected, because lipoic acid is act as a cofactor, coenzyme, catalyst, and because of this TCA or glycolysis get slowed or get inhibited, and therefore it is going to produce less energy, and because of the less energy, the higher dividing cells like intestinal epithelium, kidney, liver, skin, and lungs get affected. And this is coming under the cellular respiration with the trivalent arsenicals. Trivalent arsenicals are also, we earlier mentioned, this is going to produce the dilatation of and degeneration. This trivalent arsenical is going to produce the capillary dilatation. So when the capillary get dilate, particularly the capillary of gastrointestinal tract of splanchnic particularly the splanchnic area of the GI tract. Therefore, when the capillary get dilated, it get fragile, and because of that, it produces the gastrointestinal tract submucosal congestion, edema, as well as the capillary degeneration. And because of this capillary degeneration, therefore this is going to produce vesiculation, blistering, and edema of the skin, also oozing out. And because of the oozing out of from this capillary, the fluid get accumulated in the gastrointestinal tract. And major and also the because of the capillary dilatation concerned to the cardiovascular system, this is going to produce the low blood pressure, and therefore it produces the shock because of the dilatation of the blood vessel. So if there is now we have to go through the mechanism of action of the pentavalent inorganic arsenic. Pentavalent inorganic arsenic, as I earlier mentioned, pentavalent inorganic arsenic is in the form of arsenic oxide ASO4. That is the similar with the PO4. So PO4 means कि one inorganic phosphate is participating in the synthesis of ATP. So what this pentavalent inorganic arsenical is going to do, this arsenic inorganic pentavalent arsenical is going to act as the substitute for one inorganic phosphate because of the structural similarity with the phosphate. So therefore, while synthesis of ATP, one inorganic phosphate in place of one inorganic phosphate, the arsenic pentavalent form get there and attach there and form arsenate ester. Means in place of one inorganic phosphate, one pentavalent inorganic arsenical went there, that is in the while the oxidative phosphorylation is going on, because in oxidative phosphorylation there is attachment of one inorganic phosphorus or inorganic phosphorus occur, and thereafter ATP gets synthesized. But in place of inorganic phosphate, there is pentavalent inorganic arsenic get attached and form one unstable arsenic ester, and therefore it will reduce the ATP synthesis, or it will uncouple the oxidative phosphorylation. So what is oxidative phosphorylation? Is a phosphorus in which inorganic phosphate is combining with the electron in such a way that ATP gets synthesized. So because of the inorganic pentavalent arsenic, it get uncoupled, or it form the arsenate ester for some time, and therefore less ATP gets synthesized. And one important point is that this is called uncoupling of oxidative phosphorylation. So what is uncoupling of oxidative phosphorylation? It uncouple the oxidative, not coupling, not with the similar mate, with the dissimilar mate, that with the arsenic, and therefore low energy is there. But in this case of poisoning, there is no body temperature get elevated. But similar type of toxicant nitrophenol that also uncouple the oxidative phosphorylation, that in that toxicity there is body temperature get raised, but this is not found in the arsenic. So pentavalent arsenic or arsenic compound is going to form particularly the inorganic pentavalent, uncouple the oxidative phosphorylation, less ATP synthesis, cellular energy deficit, and therefore this is going to produce the hinder the ATP synthesis. This is about the inorganic. The trivalent is also mainly the inorganic. But when you have go through the organic arsenicals, particular the pentavalent organic in arsenical, they are mainly concerned to the vitamin B interference. These pentavalent organic arsenicals which interfere with the vitamin B, and because of interference with the vitamin B by the pentavalent organic arsenical, they are going to produce the neuronal toxicity. How? These pentavalent organic arsenical is going to produce a demyelination or axonal degeneration. Therefore, they are going to produce the neurotoxicity. And this neurotoxicity is because of the pentavalent organic arsenical interference with the vitamin B, and therefore it is going to produce the toxicity because of demyelination as well as the axonal degeneration. So this is about the mechanism of toxicity of the arsenic. Now we have to go through the diagnosis. Here is the other mechanism of action that we have collected from the cassette and dolls. This is also from the toxicodynamics, that is the mechanism of toxicity of arsenic, that is explained by Goodman and Gelman, that is explained the cassette and dolls, and all are going to explain the same way. So now we have to directly shift on the diagnosis. So diagnosis of the arsenic poisoning is based upon the clinical sign, based upon the lesion found, based upon the laboratory test. So the diagnosis of the arsenic toxicity is through clinical sign and symptom on the basis of, then on the basis of presence of lesions, on the basis of the laboratory test we have to we have to go through that. So now we have to go through the clinical sign and symptom. So the first we have to go through the inorganic or organic trivalent arsenic, and then we have to go through the organic pentavalent. That organic pentavalent we are mainly concerned the neurotoxicity. Regarding the inorganic organic trivalent is concerned, that is the mainly concerned to the attachment with the sulfhydryl group, and therefore it hinders the cellular respiration by lowering the ATP synthesis, by inhibiting the or by hindering the glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Now this toxicity is concerned, that the clinical sign is concerned, this with the inorganic or organic trivalent arsenic, they are usually two form: acute or peracute poisoning or toxicity, or subacute poisoning or subacute toxicity. The acute and peracute poisoning with the arsenic, particularly the trivalent arsenical is concerned, in this case usually animal die within 24 hours, or one to hardly one day, more than one day. And if the animal survive, then the animal will go through the another phase, that is the subacute poisoning and subacute toxicity. So acute or peracute poisoning of the arsenic concerned with the trivalent arsenical of both inorganic and organic, this toxicity with concerned to the clinical sign and symptom. So as we earlier mentioned, the arsenic is having the property of irritancy or irritant property. So once the arsenic reached, in case of acute or peracute poisoning in GI tract, that is going to, because of the irritant property, going to produce the toxicity with the gastrointestinal tract, as well as because of the capillary dilatation and fragility degeneration, that is going to produce the cardiovascular toxicity. So major acute or peracute toxicity with the trivalent inorganic or organic arsenical is concerned with the gastrointestinal tract and cardiovascular system. So now we have to go through the acute or peracute poisoning. So when the arsenic reached in the gastrointestinal tract, because of its irritant in nature, it will inflame the gastrointestinal tract, and because of the inflammation as well as the capillary dilatation and fragility, this is going to produce the irritation of the GI tract, then thereafter going to produce the vesicle and also sloughing, and because of that this is going to produce the petechial type of hemorrhage in the GI tract. So when there is irritation occur in the GI tract, this is going to produce the vomission, and if there is a sloughing, then there is a intense abdominal pain. So irritation with the sloughing and vesicle formation is going to produce the vomission along with the intense abdominal pain, and because of this capillary dilatation, the watery thing get exudated there in the GI tract, then this is going to produce, because of the irritation also, watery diarrhea and severe diarrhea, and thereafter later on the GI tract get a tone, means no tone is there, and because of the capillary dilatation fragility, the blood pressure, blood volume get reduced, so it produces hypovolemic type of condition, that is the hypotension, and because of the diarrhea it produces the dehydration, and this is also produces the hypothermia. So, and this is also concerned to the particularly the organic one, particularly the organic and pentavalent one is concerned to the vitamin B one, and it is going to produce the neurological toxicity. And when after these symptom and sign appear in the acute or per-acute toxicity, animal gets survived, they got into the next phase, and this is came after when animal survive for 3 days or longer. And the symptom you will find the same, but because the arsenic get absorbed, so it will comes in the kidney to produce kidney damage, and because of the diarrhea it get dehydrated also, acidosis also, and this is also concerned to the azotemia. So this is about the subacute poisoning symptoms is concerned with the arsenic, inorganic or organic trivalent arsenical. Now we have to go through the organic pentavalent arsenical. So we always or earlier have mentioned the organic pentavalent arsenical interfere with the vitamin B complex. Therefore, it produces the demyelination as well as the axonal degeneration. Therefore, this is concerned to the nerve, and you will find the symptom related to the nerves. What these are? Incoordination, not coordinated. Animals are not in coordination, get fall down. Then torticollis. Torticollis is the twisted neck. Then blindness. These mainly you will find the symptom related with the nervous sign. Then most often affected species is swine. Swine means pig, and you will find the symptom mainly related to the nervous sign. And arsenic gas is concerned, that is the arsenic hydride is concerned, this is potent hemolytic that earlier mentioned. This arsenic is not only potent hemolytic, also this is get absorbed from the pulmonary route, and therefore this is going to produce the pulmonary edema. So in case of human being, arsenic poisoning is called arsenocosis, and this symptom you will find the skin blotches all over the face and body, that is the hyperpigmentation of chest, upper arm. Also you will find the hard patches in palm and sole. So this is about the arsenocosis in human being. Now we have to go through the diagnosis by lesion. So clinical sign we already discussed. So clinical sign, these the mainly concern to GI tract and cardiovascular system. And the second is the lesion. What type of lesion you will find in this poisoning? So lesion, particularly if you are concerned, the lesion, because the most affected organ is GI tract, so therefore you will find the lesions likewise there also. So lesion what? There the inflammation is there. So mucosa, the capillary get dilated. So mucosa get congested. And because of the congestion, you will find the edema. Edema, then if it get prolonged for more inflammation for longer time, it get necrosed. So if they get necrosed, fluid are coming out. So fluid is accumulated in the GI tract, and thereafter it reduces the tone of GI tract. So a tonic type of condition will occur. So you will find the lesion where the mainly affected. So as it get absorbed, the major accumulated site of arsenic is the major organ. What these major organ are? Liver, kidney, lungs, and then one more organ is the heart. So major affected organ is, you can say, the kidney as well as the liver. So kidney gets swelled, and pale liver. And I earlier mentioned in the first part, GI tract is mainly affected. So you will find the pinpoint hemorrhage, that is the petechial hemorrhage in intestinal serosa and mucosa. So this is all about the clinical signs of diagnosis, then lesion based of diagnosis, and now the last one is the diagnosis based upon the laboratory test. So in laboratory test, you will find blood urea nitrogen and packed cell volume are get increased. Also, the urine specific gravity get increased because of the protein incoming in the urine. So proteinuria, plaque cell volume increase, blood urea nitrogen get increase. You will find as a laboratory diagnosis. Other are antemortem. So in antemortem, you have to go and see the urine. Check the urine whether it bun get raised, whether is the specific gravity get raised or not. Also, you have to check the arsenic content in the urine, vomitus, feces, hair, because hair is the most important, particularly in chronic inorganic arsenic, because we earlier mentioned the high amount of sulfhydryl group are found in two places, that is the nail and hair. So arsenic get deposited more there, so you have to test also whether the arsenic is present there or not. This is about the antemortem before death. So after death, we have to go through the post-mortem, and in post-mortem, the main affected place is the GI tract. So we have to open the GI tract and see the presence of the petechial hemorrhage in mucosa and submucosa, and irritation is there, is not, edema is there, is not, and also major affected organ. You have to see the liver and kidney. Swollen kidney is there, so kidney are swelled or not. You have to go and check. This is in the laboratory diagnosis. And now the last and the most important of this arsenic toxicity is the treatment. So we have to treat the animal. So in treatment part, we have to divide it into two main part. That the first one is the supportive treatment. Supportive treatment means symptom. As per the symptom, supportive treatment is somewhat symptomatic treatment, or supportive treatment means first, if the animal visit, poisoned animal is visit in your clinic or hospital within 1 or 2 hours of poisoning, arsenic poisoning, then if the animal is vomiting, then you don't give the emetic to vomit, to take out, to remove the arsenic from the GI tract. So this is under the supportive therapy. If you are not going to give the emetic as a supportive therapy to remove the presence arsenic in the GI tract, then you have to go through the activated charcoal. So what is activated charcoal? It is the adsorbent. So what is the adsorbent? This activated charcoal is going to adsorb the arsenic present in the surrounding area of the GI tract, and simultaneously you have to give the cathartic. So cathartic is going to expel out the adsorb activated charcoal from the feces. And if then you have to go through the gastric lavage. So first, under the supportive therapy, if the animal is vomiting, don't give emetic. If not vomiting, then you have to give the emetic. If emetic is not sufficient to remove, then you have to go through the second supportive therapy, that is the gastric lavage, that is the washing out of the GI tract. So after the washing out of the GI tract, even you are thinking that still the things are remain in the GI tract, then you have to go through the adsorbent therapy with the cathartics by giving the activated charcoal and activated. So first is with the emetic. If this is not happen, go through the gastric lavage. If this is if still the things are remain in the GI tract, go through the adsorbent therapy, and these all are coming under the supportive therapy. Also, you have to correct the shock. You have to give the treat the dehydration. You have to treat if there is through the blood transfusion. So these all are coming under the supportive therapy, but not a specific, non-specific therapy. Now we have to go through the and a specific therapy of the arsenic poisoning, and a specific therapy of arsenic poisoning is also called antidotal therapy. In this antidotal therapy, the most important is a specific antidote is BAL, British anti-leviside. Leviside is arsenic. Leviside means the arsenic. So its antidote is called anti-leviside because it is developed first by the Britishers. So this is called British anti-leviside. This British anti-leviside is chemically also called dimercaprol. So British anti-leviside or dimercaprol are a specific therapy or antidotal therapy because these are possessing the sulfhydryl group. Like penicillamine. Penicillamine is also possessing the sulfhydryl group. So arsenic is going to combine the sulfhydryl group present with the dimercaprol or penicillamine, and therefore that is going to be take out removed from the poisoned animal. So dimercaprol or British antileviside or BAL is a antidote, and for human dose is here, this is the 3 to 4 mg IM in human. But in case regarding the dimercaprol or BAL analog is concerned, and the soluble one is the important one. So dimercaprol soluble analog are two compound MSMA and DMSA. So what is this MSA or MSMA or DMSA? So this is a major dimercaptosuccinic acid. So this is a meso dimercaptosuccinic acid is the MSMA, whereas DMSA is simply dimercaptosuccinic acid, and are water soluble and are soluble analog of dimercaprol or BAL, and these are also called succimers, and the dose are 30 mg per kg body weight for rabbit. This, but in case of cattle therapy, in place of dimercaprol, it is better to pick the thiooctic acid, because thiooctic acid or lipoic acid, it is, if you are going to give, this is possessing the sulfhydryl group, and therefore the arsenic is going to bind, and that is going to be take or removed, should be removed from the body of the poisoned animal. Then the penicillamine, the dose is 2 gram per day in 4 divided dose. This penicillamine is also possessing the having the binding capability with the arsenic, and therefore this is also used as a specific antidote for the arsenic. So most important is dimercaprol or BAL or succimer, that is the MSMA or DMSA. So other than that is the penicillamine. So along with that, you have to also give the vitamin supplement. Why? Because I earlier mentioned in the mechanism of toxicity with the organic pentavalent arsenic is concerned, they are interfere with the vitamin B, and therefore it is going to produce the need demyelination and axonal degeneration, and therefore we are going to give the vitamin supplement. Regarding progenesis and forecast of the disease is concerned, if the acute case is there, the mortality is very high. So this is all about the arsenic. In next class we have to go through the next metal toxicity.